Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos about teaching and the Charlotte Danielson framework for teaching. I do research on all and every type of topic related to teaching so that you don't have to. And in today's video, I want to talk particularly to newer teachers and give you guys the top mistakes that I made my first year of teaching, and hopefully these things will be beneficial for you. So if you are a first year new teacher, the whole year is literally going to be a wash. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of preparation, possibly hell, but it does get easier. So these little tips and tricks will hopefully make your life just a little bit easier. The first mistake I made my first year teaching was working through my lunch. Networking and socializing in a school district is very powerful, and I regret isolating myself working through my lunch, thinking that I would be more productive using all of the time that I had free to make PowerPoints, to grade, that I would get ahead that way. But really, taking the time to make friends is crucial and should be one of your top goals as a new teacher. When you start in a new district, even if you're not a new teacher, one of your first goals for the month should be to make 5 new friends. And they don't have to be in your department. I would recommend actually trying to diversify and make friends with people from other departments. This will be so valuable for you to learn the way of your building, to learn your way around the building, try to make friends with people who have been there for a long time and are really comfortable with, building policy, the school culture, all of that stuff. It's also really important to your job satisfaction that you have adult interaction, especially if you're in the elementary school. That you are taking the time to socialize with adults and collaborate with them, bounce ideas off of each other. Getting answers to your questions about teaching and more of the procedural and clerical stuff can easily be done with a friend. You don't have to wait for your mentor meetings or your new teacher meetings to ask those questions. The more friends you have, the more social capital that you have, the easier time you will have. So your priorities in general, my priorities, this is second mistake that I made my first year. The priorities should be familiarizing yourself with the culture, building procedures and protocol. That should all take precedent over the caliber of student work. And that might be, a controversial statement, but my first year, I was so concerned with my students producing high caliber work that certain things that were not as important to me but were important to my school as a whole or my district as a whole didn't come first. And if I could go back in time, I would prioritize those things first. The caliber will come as you build teaching and pedagogy and content knowledge. So I was too concerned with them producing, top tier looking work to impress, parents, teachers, make a good name for myself, when really the way to do that is to have social capital, meaning, you network and make yourself known. Because if you don't, all the departments can basically go the whole year without knowing that you exist. And you basically want to not cause waves and stay under the radar as far as, clerical and administrative issues, but to show face as a positive presence and a helpful presence and good energy. The third mistake that I made as a new teacher is wanting everyone to like me too much and trying to fit in too much, to the point where I became a people pleaser, overextended myself past, the time that I had, did many favors for people that I probably shouldn't have, just because I wanted to do well. I wanted to get tenure. That was really important to me at the time, that I was working crazy hours, also in my night program for alternate route, also working a part-time job at night, and then, doing all these other clerical favors for people in the school, or extra work that I didn't have to do to get through my first year. So yes, you want people to like you. I suggest the best way to do that is to socialize and network instead of running yourself to the ground, because you're already going to be stressed just trying to figure out and get your bearings on everything. Okay, the next mistake, number 4, is doing everything myself. You should never start anything your first year of teacher as a blank document. What do I mean by that? Let's say whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a worksheet, whether it's a lesson plan that you need to submit, you should always be working off of a template. Even things like decorating the room, you should never be starting from scratch. And if you are, utilize, let's say you have to decorate or clean the room, it was left a mess for you, you don't have to do everything yourself. You can utilize your kids. Your kids are kind of like your little soldiers, right? So sometimes if I have downtime or a kid finishes early, I'll have them help me start decorating or cleaning. You have to be resourceful with your time, especially as a new teacher. So you should never be starting from ground zero with anything. Ask to see, references from another teacher. If you have to make a rubric, model yours after someone else's rubric and modify as needed. Work smarter, not harder. Don't make more work for yourself if you don't have to. Even preparing materials, cutting or folding paper. When I taught art, if I had kids that I know were reliable and had the motor skills to do it at the high school level, I would have them help me prepare stacks of paper for my next class if they were finished early. And then this one, most importantly, like I said, you're going to be going through a lot of stuff at once as a new teacher. And I regret allowing that to take over my life to the point where my health and self-care went to the wayside. If I could go back in time, I would remind myself that my health and my self-care comes above everything. Making sure that I'm eating and hydrating comes above all else. And if something else doesn't get done, it will get done eventually. It will all get done eventually. My first year, I would go through either not having enough time to eat or forgetting to eat because I was so busy, or I would not eat all day until I got home, and then I would stuff my face with food to the point where I felt sick because I was starving all day. I would forget to drink until I got home, or I didn't want to drink because my schedule was so packed that I wouldn't be able to leave and go to the bathroom to pee because I had a room full of students with me and I just was not hydrating properly. So all of that to say, now years later, I make sure that those things are a priority before anything else. And I notice that I'm more present with my students. My classes run a lot smoother. I'm much happier at work now that I've prioritized that over running myself to the ground. And I get more done somehow. By putting those things first, I found that I do actually get more done. I'm more productive. So all in all, my 5 top mistakes that I wish I could go back in time and redo my first year in teaching is: number 1, not working through my lunch. Number 2, re-evaluating my priorities to put building and protocols and procedures and school culture first, and allowing the student caliber to evolve and blossom over time, which it naturally does anyway. And number 3, overextending myself to people being a people pleaser because I wanted to fit in. I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted to do well and succeed. And I ended up burning myself out, doing extra work that I didn't need to. Number 4, doing everything myself. If I could go back, I would be more resourceful. I would work off of other templates, work smarter, not harder, employ the help of my students when needed. That's something that I learned to do over time. And finally, and most importantly, the last mistake that I made was prioritizing certain items over my health, such as a proper eating and hydration schedule. I stopped exercising for a while because I just didn't think I would be able to get it all done. But now that I find that sleeping, hydrating, eating well, exercising regularly has actually increased my productivity at school. And it's helped me manage my time better at school. I'm more awake and in a better mood for my students and my staff. All right, so in closure, if you're a first-year teacher and you're looking for a comprehensive guide of tips and tricks to help you survive the first year, do check out my pro tips video and life hacks on surviving the first few weeks of school and surviving your first year in general. Okay, if you're a first-tier teacher, we'd love to hear what your experience is like and what the hardest parts have been for you so far. See you in the next video. Have a great day.